What's up, everyone? Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whenever you're listening to this. Welcome to the Fat Fit Freedom Podcast, episode number 16. Brandon, what's up, Mr. Anderson? How are we doing today?
Great, man. It's a nice Friday. We're back at it. Always love this time of the day.
Yes. No. Love doing this. And fortunately, we would have had an episode, previous episode 16. Actually, no, it's technically episode 15. Let me rephrase that. Because we tried to do 15 last week when Brandon wasn't here, and unfortunately that didn't go exactly as planned, so we got 15 this time. Jamie's coming back at some point that we can redo what we were doing last week, but that's okay. We are on to newer topics, and I shouldn't say better things because Jamie and I, we were jamming.
Jamie's the man.
Jamie is the man. Shout out Jamie Conley.
Yep.
But for today, got another lovely topic to give everybody, and this is something that's been on my mind a lot when it comes to building not just bodies, but building a lifestyle, because that's what health and fitness really is at the end of the day. It is a lifestyle that you live.
Yep.
And one of the things that pops to mind in my mind is the phrase that I think I'm pretty sure I just made this up when I was typing all this up, is that strong in some ways is boring, right? Strong is boring. And what I mean by that is there is a lot of glamour that comes with fitness, obviously because of how our bodies look.
Yep.
And how aesthetic bodies look. And even with the glorification of women working out their asses for bigger butts, even with
which is awesome.
Glorification, nothing wrong with that. Okay, let's say that. That's a good point. Nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Even with the glorification of the gym bros in there, like trying to make gains in the gym.
I could do a little bit less of those.
This is facts. But at the end of the day, strong is boring, because what does getting strong and healthy come back to? It comes back to not just habits in the gym, but it comes back to repetition. It comes back to doing things over and over and over again, to not just create a habit, but it's the continuing process of doing this over an extended period of time, which in a lot of ways is tedious, is monotonous, is doing the same thing over and over again. Now, some may reference and think that in terms of meal prepping only steamed broccoli and chicken every single day. Yeah, that's fucking boring.
Yeah.
That if that is your lifestyle, that's completely boring, and you actually should probably stop meal prepping like that. There's a lot of better ways you can meal prep, so you can actually enjoy the food that you taste. But the repetition of exercise, of being mindful of your diet, these things can get tiring after a while, especially if you're new to it. Now, athletes on one hand, Brandon knows this firsthand, like for the most part, you guys do the same things every day,
right,
when you're training,
right?
Don't you?
Yeah, you have to instill not only habits, but good habits, and practicing those habits over and over definitely help you get into a state of, and I know you're going to talk about this a little bit later, but like an unconscious ritual.
Sure.
Things from backpedaling the right way in football, or the way you swing, or the way you finish your swing in baseball. And then I'll even go as far as quoting the great Bruce Lee. Would you rather practice one kick 1,000 times or 1,000 kicks one time?
Yeah.
So that I try to have that type of perspective when training myself, and when trying to instill good habits in athletes and players and people I train.
Oh no, that's a fantastic reference. I love that Bruce Lee reference. Any Bruce Lee reference is a fantastic quote, and that's so true. And one of the things with this also is when you can look at someone's body, or when you can look at someone's performance and think, wow, like how are you so good? How you got so good really quickly, especially if you haven't seen someone in a long time. But with these type of things, it's important to keep in mind that success doesn't happen overnight, but success happens at night.
Right.
For sure. With the things that you're doing each day, day in, day out. And a lot of times it's what people don't see. As cliche as that sounds, when it comes to success, when it comes to your body and performance, it completely applies. And it's the same thing. Like, people aren't going to see you taking the time to cook all your meals. People aren't going to see you taking the time to, maybe it's like write out an exercise, like do all this research for your exercise for yourself, for the personal program that you want to build for yourself. People aren't going to see all the time that you take in terms of even just preparation for your day, whether it's like getting up in the morning, especially like, I mean, we know this if you've dated any woman before, but right, like sometimes like women will take longer to get ready in the day. People don't see that a lot of times. They just see this woman that sets out like, damn, she looked fine, like
right.
She is gorgeous, but you don't know how long it took for her to get ready. Like there's just certain aspects of people's lives and of your life that others just aren't going to see, and you really have to be okay with all that isn't shown to the public, all that isn't shown when you step outside your doors. Everything that happens, the most important things that happen in-house.
Mm-hmm. And to elaborate, not only the decisions you do make, but the decisions you don't make. Like having that thing you shouldn't have, or cheating yourself in some peripheral aspect. Mm-hmm. But saying no and then saying yes is just as important.
No, for sure, and that's super important when building habits, is being able to say no. It's doing what you know you need to do, maybe not what you want to do.
Yep.
At the end of the day, there's plenty of things that we want to do.
Oh, all the time.
Like honestly, I don't want to wake up. I don't want to get out of my bed every morning. Mm-mm. I love sleeping. I'm obsessed with the act of sleeping. I don't actually like to go to sleep, but once I'm there, like I really don't want to move.
But you gotta get up.
You gotta get up. We have work to do. People have bills to pay and everything like that as well. Like, there's so many things that we don't want to do, and unfortunately, a lot of times that comes back to exercise, where plenty of people don't want to exercise. They know they need to exercise, they don't want to, and too often that want outweighs the need, and many choose to not do that. But if you really think to yourself, hey, like these are the changes that I want, these are the gains I need to make, then you just have to suck it up for a little bit and understand that there's little sacrifices that are going to have to be made. And because success doesn't happen overnight, you're going to have to sacrifice some of your time, because that's what everything always ends up coming back to, is us sacrificing our time for some reward.
Yeah.
That is the one trade-off that always exists, is you sacrificing time for some reward. And that's where the unconscious ritual aspect that Brandon had referred to comes in, because we go through so many unconscious rituals every single day, and we don't even know that that's what they are. This could be brushing your teeth morning and evening. This could even just be the act of double checking to see if you locked your door when you leave.
Yep. Like
it just becomes unconscious, it becomes habit. Maybe even triple checking. But the unconscious habit of, and the unconscious ritual of exercise and watching what you eat, watching what you put in your mouth, these can also be built into that also. It just is going to take a little bit more time in the beginning to build those, because you have to be conscious of that in the beginning for it to be an unconscious ritual as time goes on. Does that make sense, everyone? Hope that makes sense. And the habitual part of this, as repetitive as it may sound, most of the habits that we end up building, they do become like oxygen. They do become like second nature. For example, why do we, when we go to the bathroom, why do a lot of us lock the door? I mean, maybe some people don't, but like,
you're probably
plenty of people lock the door.
Yeah,
like,
you're probably used to it. That's something that, makes you feel safe.
Yeah, for sure. Or even, especially when we understand there's a consequence, it could be even locking your car.
Yep.
All right, what is the consequence of not locking your car? People breaking into your car, stealing your shit, and theft. Well, what's the consequence of not exercising regularly?
Not eating the right way.
Gaining weight, not being happy with your body. You have to make everything part of your lifestyle at some point. And a lot of people talk about making fitness and making health part of their lifestyle, but with most things, people are just talking, and they're just talking heads, and they're not really actually about that life. Because in using an exercise reference, progressive overload is something that's super important, well, not just with building muscle, but it's important when it comes to building habits, because just to give people an idea, if you don't know what progressive overload is, it's just increasing volume over a period of time. You can understand how that can be referenced towards weights, increasing weight volume over time so you can get stronger, and so you can measure your progress of strength. The same thing totally applies to athletics, which sports, progressive overload, and brand in context in terms of baseball. Actually, what would be an example of baseball? I probably wouldn't get the best example of that.
Well, continue to work on different pitches,
Sure.
different approaches, or working on your swing. Just off the tee, off the tee, off the tee, outside, off the tee, off the tee, off the tee, high tee, high tee, high tee, high tee. Continuing to add more tools in your tool belt, basically.
Yeah. And then the same thing applies to diet and exercise as well. You can't come in thinking that you're going to set the world on fire. That's actually why most people fail when it comes to, let's say, losing weight, losing body fat, is because they try and change everything all at once. You really have to compartmentalize and break things down step by step. So if you haven't never really made exercise part of your daily life, this is actually what I said to a few people last week, minimum, start at the bare minimum and just build off that. 3 times a week, at least 30 minutes. If someone can't find a way to exercise at least 3 times a week for 30 minutes, you really need to reevaluate your entire life.
Simple.
Like that, there's no excuse for that. Even 5 times, 5 days a week, 15 minutes at a time. Even break that down even more. Because volume and frequency is more important than volume in this case.
Now, what would you say to someone that said, okay, I could put 1 day a week for 2 hours?
Yeah. So again, that's from what I just said, like the frequency over volume. If you had to pick one, both are important. Frequency is what's most important first, because that's what builds the habit.
Yep.
Frequency builds the habit here. Volume is what progresses that habit,
Yes.
is what evolves that. That's where that progressive overload comes in. But the repetition, the frequency, the repetitiveness of this process, of these steps, that is the most vital thing that you can do in the beginning. And so even at the very least 5 days, 15 minutes at a time, do some AMRAPs, do some quick WODs for a CrossFit reference there, and you can make some physical gains for sure. I think one of the things that happens with athletes is in the off season, people just don't end up. A lot of plenty of athletes don't end up training in the off season. Anything, they stop. But even those,
or even during the season too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, during the season just as much.
That's totally true. Even during the season, like I know I'm feeling that actually from Ninja, because I basically took 2 months off from July and August.
Crushing it.
Like,
you were crushing it right before that.
Didn't do anything.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? This is my off season right now, and let me tell you, worst fucking thing I could have done. Now, July was a little different. I was traveling. That was the most traveling I've done. Was in Korea and Maryland. I really spent like 1 week here.
Right.
In Mass.
Both of us.
Actually, no, that's true. And then you were, you had a crap ton of traveling too. And so other than that, but August wasn't really as much of an excuse. I totally am feeling that now as Ninja season, competitive season is coming back. And so speaking from personal experience and then observation, even taking time off, it's important to keep doing little habits, because even like myself, like July basically stopped. I probably worked out 3 times in July.
And
like
then
legitimately.
How do you get it going after those long breaks? Is it a struggle for you? Is it something you look forward to getting back after it, or is it a progression, a slow progression?
Oh, it's definitely a progression getting back, because mentally, someone like myself, I was like, oh, let me just try and jump back into what I was doing, and that ended real quick when the delayed onset muscle soreness a few days later was like, hey, Chris, go fuck yourself, like you're not gonna be able to walk today. And so that wasn't that fun. I had to ease back into everything, and it was very important. But for many others, not even maybe not even at that point. Maybe you're just starting out trying to build something. Like don't try and set the world on fire. You need to start small, because that's how any program is structured. Every single thing that you, even with school, it's not like you go in there. It's not like I could be. If let's say I'm 16 years old and I've never had any type of formal education like that, they're not going to stick me right into like AP classes or like high school students or anything.
Yep.
They're probably not even going to stick me into college level classes. Like
probably give you some type
probably
of assessment.
They'll probably give me some type of assessment. They honestly may even recommend me going to some type of like more private schooling. In that sense, if I've never ever had any type of formal education,
Get a tutor.
yeah, like there's levels to this. that need to take place.
And those DOMs is why we see people start fast and then completely tail off or stop, or that ends up being the wall for a lot of people, delayed onset muscle soreness. Because people get in the gym, they try to crush it, then their body hurts, and it hurts for a week because they haven't been able to get back into it, or the motivation's left because their body's hurting, and then it ends up restarting that cycle all over again. So don't let DOMs stop you. You got to push through it, and you got to find the right way for your body to recover.
And here's the things about DOMs too. Is many think DOMs is like a great thing. Oh my god, I've been so sore. Well, actually, there's two different perspectives. There's the, oh my god, I was so sore. Like I love it. Like I miss this. There's people like that are crazy fanatic like that. And then there's people like, oh my god, I was sore for like 4 days. That was terrible. Like I never want to do this again.
Yep.
Regardless of wherever you lie on that spectrum, DOMs, even though it exists, it actually really isn't a good thing for your body. Because if you have such a delayed set of muscle soreness where 3 days have gone by and you're struggling to move,
still hanging,
like it's still struggling to maybe lift your arms, or your legs are still sort of walking around, you probably overdid it. In fact, no, you definitely overdid it.
Yep.
Like exercise isn't supposed to incapacitate you.
Yeah, it should be.
It's okay to be a little bit sore. That's what happened with tearing muscle fibers. You're creating adaptations on a cellular level, but you should still be able to go about your daily life and not have to worry about reaching up to open a cabinet or something. Like you're not bending down to pick up your backpack.
Just because you worked out.
Just exactly.
That should make that stuff easier. As opposed to the opposite.
No. Oh, for sure. Like there's the attitude when it comes to exercise of going balls to the wall is prevalent, which is a good thing. But the extreme part of that is doing that at all times, even if you're just starting out. Like there needs to be a progression with that. Or if you're someone like myself, it's having the awareness where, hey, it's been some time. Don't try and do what you were doing before, because that you and the you physically right now are two completely different people. Like there has to be some awareness that comes with this, understanding where you're at. And of course, like when it, again, referencing progressive overload, frequency, volume, if you've been exercising for some time, then yeah, you can increase your volume. And instead of exercising for 30 minutes, exercise for 45 or an hour. And see how that goes. If an hour is, or if 30 minutes has gotten easy. When it comes to your nutrition, if you are really great at making a shake in the morning, awesome.
Yes.
Maybe try meal prepping now. Add in a little different dynamic to it. Maybe if you know you need more vegetables in the morning, or if you know you need more vegetables anyway, because we need 7 to 9. If you didn't know that, start small. Try adding one or two extra each day. Don't try and eat 7 to 9 each day. Add 1 or 2 extra in. It's these little things. It's getting a little bit better every day. Not trying to be obviously trying to be your best self, but how you become that is getting a little bit better every single day.
And not starting with the hardest thing possible. Like you're gonna introduce a vegetable, don't make it some exotic vegetable just because you heard it. You can barely, you don't know how to season it, whatever. Just start with some broccoli, something simple, something
spinach.
you like. Yeah, exactly.
Start. I'm trying to think what I posted, what I said, but it was it was referencing like people with cheat meals, right? When people feel like they had a cheat meal and they feel really bad. People feel like I said this in a post. I was like, people feel like they're married to kale. Like they feel really bad if they have like a pizza or something.
Yeah.
Like all right, like relax for a second. Even with everything that we're saying, like a lot of things we're saying, it's really not as big a deal as we probably make it seem like in your mind. Like this is why we say don't try and do everything at once.
Right.
Right? Like you don't be married to any one single way of doing things.
Right.
Where you can find consistency with it, for sure.
But
which is a good thing.
Things change. New information.
Yeah. Information changes
to the
all the time.
Yes.
Like
make adjustments.
Like look just for what we do. Like look what can I not talk? Look what has happened. Here we go. with athletics
yeah.
and with sports, how that has evolved over time with new information. You guys ever see what athletic training videos look like 30 or 40 years ago? Like, it's comical.
Yeah.
Like, it really feels like it's staged comedy seeing some of these people train.
And the thing is, even from the time I was in high school till now, things have changed so much, and it's laughable what we were doing to prepare, playing sports, and even the physical, even the hypertrophy aspect of training that we considered functional or necessary then has absolutely changed, just in the 15 years since I've been in high school and in college as well.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, one thing I want to switch to and segue to is, based on everything we just said, structuring a program around this in terms of beginning to end. What are like the little things someone can do? Right, we heard this great, building a habit. Well, how can I apply this practically? First, I'd want to say, Brandon, if you were working with an athlete, how would you describe to them how they should structure their training for them?
First, I would talk to them about what's realistic. People's first life. Like what's realistic based off of your life. What's realistic based off of things you've had success with before, and then what their motivation is. So it's hard for people to develop some type of habit or routine or implement some type of new structured program into their life if, one, they've never had any structure in their life before, or have never experienced any type of consistency with one thing, whether it's sport or some type of outside program, whatever it is. So first, the person and their personality would be the primary focus in creating some type of structured program, and then whatever their goals are. So some people's goals are more lofty than others.
Yep.
And understanding what's achievable for you really will set up whether it's a progressive overload or a foundation type program, what they're capable of, and whether or not they can really attack it. But the person is really, I think, the most important piece of information that you have to get in order to create an effective program for somebody, or some type of structured approach to training. There's so many variables when people start on programs that it's you have to take in what the speed bumps could be, or what could be the hardest aspects of implementing a program, along with what the most enjoyable parts are, and trying to combine and find some type of middle ground to incorporate both, so that the person is not working around their obstacles nonstop. Because if you shouldn't feel awful if you just miss one opportunity to get better, whether it's a session, whether it's a meal, or whatever the case is. It's really how you bounce back from it and how you make up for it that really counts. But if someone's is consistently not getting enough sleep, well, then that's going to affect major aspects of their program and the type of results they get, and their stress levels. And so if they're not seeing results, and they have all these outside factors that are contributing to just one thing that they're trying to do, or one goal that they have, then it's going to be really difficult. So I think setting people up for success based off of their enjoyments, things that they don't enjoy, and then just their general perception of whatever they're trying to achieve, it should be taken into account first. And with a kid, their parents fill their cabinets, their parents fill their fridge.
For sure.
Then they go to school, and there's a lot of things you can't control in those type of situations. You just gotta take what you can control and try to attack it the best way that person knows how, and the best way that they're willing and capable of. But I don't think there's any easy way to implement new routines or habits into your daily life unless you've really set it up in that way. I see some kids do it during the summertime. I'm sure you've worked with kids during the summer where they're able to like bang, 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 get after it. And that's like one of the best things that you can really experience or be a part of as a trainer. But when, kids are, well, they say they want to dunk by January, and then they start working out in September, and then you see them 3 times the first week, once the second week, twice the third week, and then the fourth week they go to Florida to visit grandma, and then they come back 2 weeks later, and you're like, oh wow, you can't jump anymore. Why are you surprised? Yeah. So set them up and just be realistic based off of what you're capable of and what what you have access to. It's tough.
Oh no, that's so true. You really got to be realistic with this. And so, in terms of starting small, here's something that I mean by that. I think many that have ever exercised before could understand. There has been so many people that I have seen in a gym setting try and squat weight that they have no business touching and trying to squat. None. Zero. At all. Like, whether it is having a huge butt wink, whether it is not having the ankle mobility to get down, and so their feet are kind of caving in, whether their knees, they could have knocked knees or valgus knee like caving in as well. They probably don't even have the hip mobility to get down, so it's more like a huge 300-pound back extension that they're doing instead. The amount of people that are squatting weight that they have no business squatting is really. We're back on. Sorry, guys. Yeah, you look like an asshole.
Yep.
If you're wearing those things.
You're gonna feel like an asshole.
You're gonna feel like one. And there's no point to it. Like, that's more of a mental block if you're wearing those at that point. If you're going for maximal lifts and you're going for 400, 500, 600 pounds, yeah, actually you probably use those for the support. Because that is such a stressful load on your body. But other than that, you don't really need those things. But to come back to how it started with that, so many people can't actually support weight that they're squatting. In fact, the majority of people can't even support a proper squatting movement.
Body weight.
Yeah, body weight movement, ass to grass type of movement. Whether their hamstrings are too tight, which is contributing to their butt wink. People don't know by that. Look that up. Google it. You'll see what I mean.
Hilarious.
Where they don't have, again, proper hip and glute engagement, where they're not even engaging their glutes. Jamie and I talk about this all the time. People not engaging their glutes when they squat if they're not standing fully straight up. Plenty of people cannot do a regular bodyweight squat movement, but they're trying to load on weight. So, asking a trainer, how would you actually fix that? Well, here's how you would structure a program. And this is how this would progress very, very quickly based off that. And this is just using a squat as an example, but you can use this for anything exercise related that you're trying to build off of. It is breaking it down. And it is also having zero ego.
Yes,
when it comes to this.
Yes.
Because having ego when it comes to exercise and when it comes to building a body is the quickest way to never actually get there and never be satisfied with what you're building for yourself. So, in breaking down a squat, one thing that I have plenty of clients do is either A, using a TRX or suspension machine to help squat again to the movement, or B, doing a seated squat from a seated position and standing up, as if you're standing up off a toilet.
That's right.
As stupid as that sounds, as simple as that sounds, it works. And if you don't believe me, try off like a step in your house, sitting down on the lowest one, and stand up. If you can do that easy, great. But 9 out of 10 people I do that with and have them sitting at a low seated position have such a difficult time standing up, it actually makes me laugh.
Yeah.
Because many look at that and they're like, oh, this is easy. Why the fuck are you having me do this, Chris? Like, I'm not paying you all this money to have you stand up. And they can't do it.
Yeah.
And they have a difficult time doing it. And so that's one way to break that down. But here's how this applies. Now, many can use a TRX, many can build off that pretty quickly. It's such a fundamental and the most basic of movements to start with. But if you're trying to load on weight and you're just building some leg strength, well, you can do a goblet squat, which is a variation of a front squat from that seated position. So now you're adding on resistance. Now you're adding on that load. Now you're adding on another strength building aspect and variable to that simple regression of a squat. And what these build up into is giving you the strength where maybe hopefully you can do a proper bodyweight squat on your own, but to then when you can start adding extra weight. Too many people try and add weight too quickly.
Right.
You should have to master something before you move on to the next.
Like touching your toes.
Good example.
A lot of people can't even touch their toes.
Like 80% of people can't touch their toes.
And want to squat 300 pounds.
It's not happening.
Let's dial it back.
Yeah.
Let's touch the toes.
Yeah.
You know, and then let's start to add some slight load progressions on after that.
Sure.
But you know, it's very. What's going to be more conducive to you living a healthy, happy life? Squatting 300 pounds or being able to easily touch your toes every day.
Exactly.
You know, one might set you back a long way, and the other is only going to help you increase opportunity and the availability of your body to be able to perform, whether it's a minor task or something more advanced.
No, sure. Like many are too obsessed with like looking cool or looking strong. Maybe you're too obsessed with looking the part, not actually being the part, not actually being the person that they have in mind and want to look like it. Like there's, you know what I've been actually teaching too. It's like now I have clients, if they can support it, do front squats way more often than I have them do back squats. Why? Because can you give me a scenario where the human body is having a huge extra weighted load on their back? No, that doesn't exist. We're never carrying 200-300 pounds on our back, ever. But we are carrying things in front of our body all the time.
Yep.
We do all our movement for the most part is linear.
Yeah.
Number one, and it's better for your core and it's better for posture.
Yes.
And less of a load on your back if you're doing front squats. Now, are they a little more difficult? I would probably say yeah, to try and learn to do. But that's just starting out. That's with anything learning to do. But it's just starting at the beginning, building off of something small. And what many don't understand is progress happens way quicker than you think. Like, you can't look at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh my God, I'm 250 pounds. I'm not 200 pounds yet.
Well, crap.
You know, yeah, no shit. That's not going to happen overnight. That's not going to happen in a month. But you can look at yourself in the mirror every week and be like, oh, I'm down another 2. I'm down another 3. I'm down another pound. I'm down. These little goals add up.
Easier to tie your shoes. Easier to get up out of bed in the morning.
For sure.
And I had a client today even tell me she's felt like she's had a little more pep in her step. The results haven't, actually I haven't even showed her for the last 4 weeks what her weight is, what her body fat percentage is. I just want her to first feel good about what she's doing before you add some type of variable in there that could then change her complete perspective on the good things that she really is doing. So those little things like that you're talking about are sometimes the biggest difference makers and what allow you to kind of keep attacking each day, whatever you're getting after.
Yeah, definitely. Like even the measures of success, they're not all the same.
No, not at all.
Like, weight isn't the only measure of success when it comes to your body and when it comes to athletic performance. It's how do you actually perform? How do you actually move? I know for myself, one of the biggest things that I measure is my conditioning. I don't care as much. I mean, I do care how strong I am, but do I get tired doing these things, doing certain things? If I can't make it through parts of the workout like that, or parts of a workout that I'm doing, that lets me know that my conditioning is lax.
Yep.
Or it's not where it needs to be. And that bothers me a lot. That has nothing to do with my weight.
Easy indicators.
Like they all may parallel that, like a lot of your goals, a lot of these different marks of progress are probably parallel with each other where they correlate, but that doesn't mean they all have to be the same amongst everybody.
Right.
where everyone can be making progress, but your progress for someone may be losing 10 pounds, another person's progress may be adding on 10 pounds to their bench or adding on 10 pounds to their deadlift. Yep. So another measure of progress could be now they can touch their toes.
Yeah.
Even someone else's measure of progress could be, hey, I had a serving of vegetables every single day this week.
Boom, that's a win.
Like, that's a huge win. That has nothing to do with weight. In fact, you may not even lost weight.
Right.
But that habit is something that you can build off of that's going to contribute to losing a lot of weight in the very near future.
Clutch.
Like, even same thing, just to touch on that real quick with people's diets, because I talk about nutrition a lot with people. I don't dive as deep into it. I only do that with clients. But nutrition, it's the same thing like with exercise. Like, you have to increase the frequency of what you're doing, but not the volume so quickly. You can't move mountains, and you can't reward the marathon by only doing the sprint in the beginning. Cool, you had, and for me, saying what I just said, like, let's say you had like a serving of vegetables each day, like one serving of vegetables for a week straight. Great. Now, what that doesn't mean is, wow, I did a great job, and let's say you only did it for that week, and then the next week you had 3 days out of the 7 that you had one serving of vegetables. You can't be like, oh, but last week I actually did it for the entire week. Doesn't fucking matter, because we're not living in the past. We're not living in last week. We're living in right now. What are you doing right now?
Yeah, like, build on it. Build on it.
You have to build on it all the time.
Yep.
All the time. Yet the amount of people that I've talked to that have said to me that have come back from a vacation and have been like, or come back from anywhere and been like, oh my God, I didn't exercise, but I did have a salad that one night.
Oh, great.
Wow.
Great.
Round of applause for you.
Yeah, forget about the salad.
I'm glad you could pick out that one singular moment.
Move that ass.
And that is like, and like, that's not to sound mean or anything, but it's like we got, like, just being real here. Like, you got to build off your progress somehow, and you got to build off your consistency somehow. And it's great and it's very important to reward behavior changes with yourself.
I love that.
Right?
I love that.
It's important to reward them.
Yeah.
But what are you rewarding them with?
Exactly.
Like a little pat on the back for yourself, like, hey, man, I'm proud of myself today. Like, I did this. Great. Cool. That's how you reward little behavioral changes. Now, big behavioral changes are like, hey, this entire month, I actually ate like 4 servings of fruits and vegetables each day. Cool. Now that you could probably celebrate a little bit larger, right? Because that lasted an entire month. It wasn't just something you did for the day or the week.
Pop open a bottle, enjoy it, because
Yeah.
you earned it.
Yeah, have a couple extra glasses of wine. Cool. But what that doesn't mean is now have a couple extra glasses of wine every single day.
Right. And cheeseburgers.
Yeah, like this.
Because
You gotta contextualize all of your rewards in all of these moments, because that's what's going to keep you from falling off track, and that's what also is going to keep a person from spiraling down the rabbit hole of, oh my God, I was making all this progress and now I just ruined all this progress. Now all of it's gone. No, it didn't disappear either. And no, sorry, go.
To jump on, kind of piggyback on what you're saying, introducing these new things is a lot easier and way more fun when you have somebody to do it with.
Oh, for sure.
So if you are challenging yourself to make adjustments, find somebody in a similar situation, or somebody that motivates you or challenges your thoughts, and then do it with them, so that you do have someone or something holds you accountable to achieve whatever your mind is set to, and also so that you have a different perspective on what two people are both doing. So then you guys can collaborate on adjustments, or if you guys are doing the same thing and seeing different results, then you can kind of figure out why that's happening, and then where you guys can attack it in a different light.
No, definitely. I think that's gonna be a great point to
which we're going to be doing
out.
soon.
Yeah, that's gonna be a great point to close this out. Is a lot of this all becomes easier when you're doing with someone. I think we referenced this in an early podcast, and we can definitely talk about this a lot more and others coming up. But when you're doing these things with another person or even a group or the community aspect of fitness, like it's so powerful because it really just helps keep you accountable too. I know as a fitness professional, I actually just joke with the client that I just started working with too. It's people pay us for accountability.
Right.
At the end of the day,
right.
People pay us for accountability, which is fine, which is great, because everyone. Let's be honest, like that's really what it is.
Yeah.
For many.
Showing up.
But you can find that with friends. You can find that within a new gym that you go to, like a more private one, right? Which is within a community. Like the community aspect of fitness is what honestly produces a lot of results as well, because it keeps people motivated, gets you around other like-minded individuals, and when you're around a tribe, the tribal aspect of anything accomplished is so powerful. What was the book? Tribes. I'm not familiar with. Is it Malcolm Gladwell? That it is. I'm probably getting this wrong.
Tribe of Mentors.
There's a few books references tribes.
Tim Ferriss has a book, Tribe of Mentors, that kind of takes that same angle and talks about different habits, rituals, routines that people have who've been successful in different areas, and how they implement these little habits and cheats and tools into their life. And
sure.
Absolutely, I've taken that as a huge that's played a huge role in my life, that book, in terms of things and adjustments that I've made. But absolutely, find your community, even if it's a community that's in a book, or a community that's online. I'm sure you can find people like-minded that want to crush things too.
Definitely, for sure. Got anything else, Brandon?
No, I'm just
based off that.
I'm pumped about our challenge that's coming up.
Yeah. So if Brandon and I. Really, Brandon's suggestion, I was like, yo, I'm down for that. We are going to, if you're down to start, we can start Monday.
Yeah.
If you want to start. We're going to go on an extended fast. How many days do you want to do? 3, 4?
I think I would like to shoot for 4. 3 I would feel good with.
Okay, because we've been doing, I intermittent fast 4 or 5 days a week. Brandon does it a couple times a week, I think.
6, yep.
6? You do it 6 days a week?
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
We were just listening to something, he put me on to this doctor talking about the benefits of an extended fast over a 3 to 4 day period. And so we're going to experiment on our own bodies and see what that is all about. And I think we're going to come on next week and talk about it.
Yeah. Let's get those stem cells.
So that'll be fun. I think I'm also going to see next week. We'll see if Jamie can come back on the show, and we had a little trouble having him come on last week, so we'd love to have him come on. Again, other than that, we have a couple other guests we're working, bringing on the next few weeks. And if you don't got anything else for everyone, thank you for listening again, and we'll see you next week. Have a great one. Appreciate y'all. I'm glad he just admitted it. We got that on wax.
Okay.
We got that. We can actually stop the podcast now. We had you admitting you use steroids. No, but there's always